Hello and welcome to the Noob Spearo podcast, where we interview experts, authorities and characters on all things spearfishing. Come and join us after the show at noobspearo.com, the online spearfishing community helping you to become a better spearo. Here are your hosts for the show, Shrek and Turbo.
G'day Noob Spearo. Today we're talking with David Ochoa. Yeah. He's the producer of Inhale, the Azores in One Breath. The project was 5 years in the making, starring Andre Domingues, a 5-time spearfishing champion. It's an 83-minute, 12-chapter spearfishing romp through the Azores archipelago, which is located in the mid-Atlantic, 900 kilometres off the coast of Portugal. So welcome to the show, David.
Hey, thank you guys.
So, David, just tell us a bit about yourself and spearfishing in Portugal.
Well, starting for myself, I started spearfishing at a very young age when I was 7 years old in the Azores. And it's funny because Portugal, you have Portugal, the mainland, and then you have the Azores that are these islands in the middle of the Atlantic. And I started spearfishing in the Azores. That is basically it's the perfect place for you to start. You have really good conditions, visibilities that can go up to 30 meters, warm waters up to 25 degrees, and basically you have a lot of small to medium sized fish. It's a place where it's difficult for you to get big fish. Although Inhale can be a little bit misleading, in the Azores for you to get like a wahoo or a big amberjack that are called reef donkeys in other parts. If you go to the Azores, you will not call them reef donkeys. It's difficult for you to get this kind of fish. And then you have Portugal, the mainland, that it's pretty much the opposite. You have cold waters. Yeah, it's tough here. I live in Cascais, and for example, today it's kind of a good day, and you have like 3 meters visibility. Oh. If it's 4 meters visibility, it's good.
Wow.
And you have to work your ass off to catch a 1 kilo sea bream or a sea bass. If you get a 2 kilo sea bass, it was a really good day. Of course, you have big fish, and if you go to other places, sometimes you can get some really nice snappers and sea bass or other kind of fish. But most of the time, it's very difficult, which is cool because it's you get to experience different kind of conditions. And
our call quality was just dropping out a little bit there, just a bit patchy, but that's okay. Hey, so you got started in the Azores. You were spoilt. You said up to 30 meters vis and 25 degrees water temp. You started when you were 7. Was it a family sport?
Yeah, my father is a spearfisher, and I had this different kind of education, I guess. I was gave a lot of freedom since my early days, and at 7 years old, my father would let me go spearfishing by myself.
Wow.
So I guess it could turn out not very well, but yeah, in my case, I think I managed to survive.
Yeah.
And it was cool, and the Azores is a good place for.
Mate, I stalked you. I stalked you on Facebook, and I really like your Facebook page because there's a lot of pictures of you there. You can actually follow your life as a spearfisherman, like as you're growing up. And probably by the time you're 12, you've probably shot better fish than a lot of guys will shoot in a lifetime. Like, it's just incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. When I was, I think, 13 was the first time I was by myself, because we have a house in Flores Island.
Yeah.
And with 13 years old, I spent 3 months just by myself with the boat, and it was awesome.
That's amazing.
Azores, it's a really cool place, and spearfishing is definitely cool because my oldest memories, all of them are spearfishing moments.
Wow.
Things that it's strange, man. but it's true.
Is that a real
It's really,
is it a real way of life on the island? Are you sort of unique on the island in terms of your family spearfishing, or is it something that everybody sort of is quite popular?
yeah. It's quite popular. It's cool because it's such a different lifestyle from the one you have here on mainland, which is basically, it's not really city life, but you have the bad things of the city, stress and cars and everything, and you get on a plane and in 1 hour, 2 hours tops, you are in these small islands. The smaller islands are the most beautiful, I think,
Wow.
and it's really cool because in the Azores, people there are people that love it and people who hate it. Unless you like nature and you're a spearfisher, you won't like it. You have nothing to do there. And of course, all the people that live there, everyone has a cow.
Yeah.
Everyone, and everyone knows how to spearfishing. So yeah, it's a pretty popular sport, and it's a really good place.
Before, David, when you're talking about, like it's a spearfishing paradise, I was thinking you had me sold, and then you mentioned the cows, and Levi was sold. So that's pretty cool.
Sorry, David. I'm a country boy and I love cattle, and if you'd actually said sheep, Isaac loves sheep because he's a Kiwi.
Hey, David. It sounds like you're pretty much self-taught. Is that right?
Yeah. I think self-taught is like when you do things by yourself.
Yeah. Like you didn't really have a mentor spearfishing. You just kind of just had a go. And did you have a mentor, or did someone show you the ropes?
Yeah, I didn't have like a specific mentor. Most of the things I learned by myself, but I was very, very lucky to have some really, really good friends that are awesome spearfishers. For example, the first time I met Andre Domingues, which is the main character from Inhale.
Yep.
A really, really, really good spearfisher, one of the best in the world for sure. And I met him the first time that I did spearfishing in the Azores, in São Jorge. That was the first time I met him. He's a little bit older than me. And basically this guy told me a lot of things about spearfishing, and he taught me very well. And I think I didn't have this specific mentor, but I had some really, really good friends. And when you have friends that share the same passion, and if they are willing to improve and evolve,
yep.
When you start sharing those experiences, I think it's much you improve much faster. I think.
Yeah, I agree.
It sounds like a great environment to become a good spearo. So, David, if you had to pick a memorable fish story, a story that really sticks out for you, which story would you tell?
I'm going to tell you this story about a very big bluefish that I caught when I was really young, I think.
Yep.
A bluefish?
Yeah, you know what a bluefish is?
No, were they on the DVD?
Yeah, it's on the cover, I think. On the back, on the...
What, we just happen to have it. Oh, yes, this thing.
Okay. It looks like a...
Big tailor.
Like a kingfish sort of like type
body. Kind of.
I reckon it looks like a giant
tailor. Those fish are it's cool because it's not a huge fish. Of course, we all got bigger fish than that, but it's funny because when I was young, at the beginning, I had a terrible accuracy.
Yep.
You know, I missed like every single fish. I think I missed at least 50 shots before I shot my first fish, which was dead. And that was the time that I can shoot a fish, and then I start aiming better. And it's cool. The cool thing about this bluefish is I had a couple opportunities to shoot very big bluefish when I was young, like maybe 8, 9, 10 years old, because these fish go to shallow waters when there's some waves. But I missed the fish and I teared some fish apart. And when I was I get like super crazy. I remember when I lost my very big one when I don't know, maybe 9 years old. It was a fish like about 10 kilos.
Wow.
I cried. I literally cried for 2 hours. And this is true. And it was really cool because one day I was in Corfu Island, which is probably the best island to go spearfishing in the Azores.
I'm just gonna
And
write
I
that down.
had these golden breams that are really really shitty fish. I just got a couple of them to do some bait for a guy that was fishing. Then I felt this push on my float because I always have my buoy attached to the skin,
Yep.
you know. And basically it was a very very big bluefish that was eating these golden breams that on my buoy, and I managed, and that's how I managed to shoot my big fish. It was my biggest fish on that time, and I was super 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 happy. And it's this cool thing about spearfishing. It was one of my happiest moments in my life, and it's cool because it doesn't have to be 100 kilos yellowfish. You can get super excited with fish that for other guys it can be just normal fish, and it was a really good time for me to catch that, to win that battle with them.
That sounds awesome. So you turned around, you felt a tug on your float, and there's one big bluefish was in there eating the fish on your float.
Yeah, it was eating. Two of them were already gone, and then I only had this last fish that was already cut in half.
Yeah.
You know, like it was the same as a shark bite. You know,
Yep.
It was like a 3 kilos fish, just angry, super excited bluefish just came in towards me,
Awesome.
and I managed to shoot it, and it was really, really, really cool.
Did you stone it, or did you? Whereabouts did you shoot him?
Yeah, I shoot him on the spine. Basically, I didn't think about anything. I just shot him on the first place that I think it could handle.
Okay.
And I was lucky to shoot it in the spine. So it wasn't quite a big fight, but it was a cool moment.
Awesome. That sounds like a great first fish at 9 years old. I'd be happy to do that at 29. So, with all your early problems with accuracy, because a lot of our listeners probably have some of the same issues. I know I've had problems with accuracy. What did you kind of? How did your technique adapt? Was it your gun? Was it your technique? What was the problem?
Yeah, I think in the beginning it was truly a matter of mindset. And it happens sometimes even now. When you start missing a lot of fish, you start thinking too much. At least this is what I was doing. I was aiming the fish thinking that I was going to miss the fish, and I missed. And it was fun because on the beginning it was really, really hard, and it was enough for me to shoot a fish that was already dead for me to change their mindset and start having the confidence to shoot. And it was just a moment.
That's great.
You know, I wasn't able to shoot any fish, and from that time I started.
So, sorry, listeners, we've got a bit of a patchy dial up there with Portugal. So we'll just move on anyway. David, would you want to tell us about a scary moment that you might have had in the last so many years you've been diving since you were 7? You must have had a couple of sort of scary moments that stick out.
Yeah. I never had this like super, super scary moment when I thought I was going to die. But probably 2 years ago, I was 2 months in Cape Verde in Africa.
Okay.
And Cape has some sharks, but it's not a terrible place for that matter. But I think on the third or fourth day that I was there, I went spearfishing to this really quiet place. Basically, it was a really cool beach. I don't know, maybe 10 meters deep. It could go up to 15 meters, something like that.
Okay.
And I started with a friend of mine, and I started shooting some badges, the kind of African hogfish. They are fun to catch, and the water was not very, very good in matters of visibility. Maybe, I don't know, 10 to 15 meters the best.
Yeah.
And this tiger shark passed just below me when I was with this badge on my hand. But we kept diving, and we put the fish on the float when we were trying to get back to shore. And basically, this crazy 3 to 4 meters tiger shark start attacking the fish that was on the float.
Wow.
And then he started charging at us. And we had to stick him a few times. And we just swim as fast as we could from shore. We were kind of far away. It took like, I don't know, maybe 10 to 15 minutes to get back from shore with this shark chasing us, and it's ruined our float lines and buoys. It was a bad moment. Then I learned
tiger sharks. Tiger sharks are very scary. They've kind of got two modes, don't they? Like, one is like you can be in the water and they're completely placid and beautiful and just awesome to be with, and then the other mode is a hunter-killer mode, where like there's a bit of confusion, and they're a scary animal to be in the water with, aren't they?
Yeah, and they're intelligent too.
Yeah, they are intelligent for sure. And I think when they start eating, as soon as they get in that predator mode and they start competing with you as for food, but basically we were trying to save our fish, and we were competing with him for the same fish. And when they get into that mode, when they start charging at you, basically they're saying, just get away, give me that fish. And I think they can be scary.
What about the Azores, David? You don't have like big sharks, big tigers. What do you experience?
Azores is it's a very quiet place in that matter. You don't have like many sharks. You can have some big makos if you are spearfishing far away from shore, but most of the times I think they are smaller, and it's not very common.
Cool.
Sounds good to me, buddy.
You have this other, It's basically it's okay.
Cool. All right. So we got Barnacle Bob's Veterans Vault.
Arr! It's time to open the Veterans Vault.
So this is the part of the show where we ask our special guests to take us deep into an area of spearfishing expertise or passion that they would like to share about. We call it the Veterans Vault. So David, I talked with you before the show. We were going to start talking about spearfishing as a lifestyle and changing the public's perception and spearfishing perception about spearfishing. So, look, we talked broadly about it at the show. Like you were saying, in Portugal, the public perception of spearfishing is not real good. Is that right?
Yeah. I think in Portugal, and I think in most of Europe too, I think we experience the same problems. Spearfishing is not a sport that has a very good image, and this is due to many different things, mostly due to spearfishers ourselves that are not giving the best image, at least I think, and that is changing.
So, what do you give that down to? Like, spearfish is not giving the best image. Like, what are we doing wrong in your opinion?
We have this problem at the first point. Basically, it's not beautiful to shoot a fish. When you post a picture with a fish that is dead on your hands, of course, it's most of the people will not like it. But the thing is, you can see in other parts of the world, America, maybe even Australia or other places, that there are brands and people concerned about giving spearfishing a different perception and image. Yep. You can see Vine Skin Diver. You have some big American brands that are starting to invest in spearfishing, making cool things about spearfishing and selling spearfishing as a lifestyle. And this basically, surfing was pretty much the same. The surfers were not very well seen.
Yeah, yep.
They were just a bunch of junkies. And as soon start surfing, it's true. And as soon they start selling this surfing lifestyle with beautiful locations and waves and hot chicks and this really healthy, sustainable lifestyle, it's true. It's from that point that surf starting to be the sport that it is today. And I think spearfishers should do the same, because spearfishing is so much more than the act of shooting the fish. You know, when you film a fish being shot, of course, some people will not like it, and it's comprehensible. You know, the thing is, when you start showing spearfishing as the lifestyle as it is, if I want to go meet you guys in Australia, of course I want to shoot big fish, but our trip, it's not just about shooting fish. You know, you get to know awesome people around the world who share the same passion. You go to the same beautiful places. I've been in amazing places that I would never have been there if it wasn't for spearfishing. And of course you have also the question of the image itself. I started filming and photographing and working what I do today because I love spearfishing, and I wanted to share awesome experiences that you can have when you are in the water, and that's why I started spearfishing. And you get to know fish's behavior. You get to know yourself when you put in situations that you are testing yourself most of the time when you're in the water. Either is with sharks, or either when you're diving deeper and deeper, when you're pushing the limits. It's a very personal thing, you know. And I think those are the matters that other people that are not spearfishers can relate to. If you only show them this evil act of killing fish, people won't understand the essence of the sport.
I think that's great, David, and look, hats off to you, because Inhale the Azores in one breath is like it's really like a spearfishing film. It's not just killing fish. It captures the island, the people, the scenery, like the amazing location, and it's got a lot of that spearfishing lifestyle in it. So hats off to you, and I like seeing these films like this that are starting to come out now. There's another guy, Perrin James, who's done a few sort of similar videos, and that the art's sort of coming into the film rather than just slaying fish. I really like it.
We're working together now.
Wow, that'll be. I'm looking forward to seeing some of that. So we want to interview him sometime in the future as well, David. But look, just a couple of practical takeaways for improving and cleaning up the image of the sport. Obviously, there's making films that just do more than just a killing montage. Telling people a bit about like the journey, like going out in the boat and having a good time, laughing with your mates, and there's these sorts of things. With social media, is there some practical advice you can give to Spearos about how to clean the image of the sport up?
I think there are a couple of things. Another thing that I didn't say, and that is very, very important if you are talking about spearfishing, or if you are trying to give a different perspective, is this the matter about sustainability. Because for example, this social media action, it's not very good when you post a photo with 50 dead animals on the floor, which is not that bad, because of course you won't affect the ecosystem spearfishing if you are a regular spearfisher. The thing is, of course, it's much worse. All the big fishing boats, those are the ones that are killing the ocean. But the thing is, for people that are not spearfishers, and those people are not very concerned in watching documentaries that show the really bad actions that have been taken. But the image is that people will have this. These are just a bunch of guys that like to shoot fish for pleasure. And now they're showing off these 50 dead animals that they don't even need them to eat. Basically, I think this is one point, and the other one too is it should be a concern about the brands to invest in a different approach too, because if spearfishing gets more popular, we as spearfishers have a better view from the main audience. More people will start spearfishing, the brands will get more money, and if we do it in the right way, in the sustainable way, everyone wins. I
noticed in the DVD that there was a particular groper that is in the Azores is not available to spearfishers. It's been sort of prohibited to take on a spear. Do you think that's a knock-on effect from bad publicity from spearos?
That's the best point you could choose to describe spearfishing in Europe, because the dusky grouper, it's not an endangered species. You have dusky groupers in all Europe. Brazil have hundreds and hundreds of them. Any spearfisher can catch them. The cool thing here is the Azorean government decided, okay, let's protect the dusky groupers. So what did they do? They protected spearfishers to catch. If you want to catch a dusky grouper, you get a fine that can go up to 10,000 euros, which is a lot of money.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
And you can get your boat and car apprehended, and okay, we will respect it if you want to protect the species. Spearfishers will be the first ones to understand that. But the cool thing is, if you get a rod or a pole on your hands, you can get as many as dusky groupers as you want. It's a species that does not have quota in the Azores. So, for example, for tuna, when the quota gets to the limit, professional fishers can't catch any more tuna. Dusky groupers, you can catch them as many as you want, no problem. And this is a very good point that shows how spearfishing is perceived. How can you forbid spearfishers to catch one single dusky grouper? And of course, there could be a law that you can catch one for you to eat per day, per person, like whatever. No, you just forbid every spearfishers to catch, and this is the most sustainable fishing method. Everyone knows that we are the ones that cause less environmental impact. Although the law is done, and that's what it is.
Yeah, that's really good. Look, our governing body here in Australia have got a simple slogan they use to help promote a good image. It's safe, sustainable and selective. And I think that is something that we want to push. And I noticed on your DVD cover that it mentions how sustainable it is as a fishery. And studies have been done. We are a more selective bunch. We shoot bigger fish, but we shoot less of them generally. So it's good. It's a good talk, David. Look, moving on to the next section in the show. What's a really funny story you have about spearfishing?
Must be some terrible stuff.
I'll tell you about a quick funny story while we're waiting for you to think of yours. We're out. We've been doing this podcast for a while now, and one of the American guys was talking to us about the pole spear and how great they were, and so Turbo here he's headed straight out and spent $300 on a Rigididge, awesome high quality pole spear.
I was going to be a world champion, mate.
He was going to be the world champ. I'm going to get all these world records and blah blah blah. We headed out to a good spearfishing spot, fairly shallow sort of water, 12 to 15 meters, like a good nice spearfishing depth. And he's had this pole spear for about an hour before packing a tantrum, climbing up on the boat with it, throwing it on the ground and saying, this sucks, and just picking his spear gun up, and that poor old sling, that Hawaiian sling, has just sat there with cobwebs all over it ever since.
Mate, it was terrible. Like I got this thing. I was talking. You know Cameron Kirkconnell. Yeah, mate. I've been watching him, and he's just shooting big tuna with a pole spear, and I'm like getting right into it. So yeah, I've ducked out. I've spent the money, and I just cannot.
Pole spear is what you use when you are in a place that you have so many fish that a regular spear gun, it's not fun anymore.
Yeah. I like that.
Make it more difficult for you to have fun.
I like that.
If you go to the Azores with a pole spear, you will have to work your ass to catch. You won't get any tuna with a pole spear. It can be tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
So while I've told that awesome story about Turbo, which is just one of many, by the way, have you figured out a story to tell?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think.
It doesn't matter how dirty it is.
Yeah, basically I have this friend that his dream was to
Should we give him
catch.
a name? Should we give him a name? Steve?
Yeah.
Let's call him Steve.
You can call him Rodrigo. He will know. He will probably hear this too. And we we were in the Azores, and he have never seen a dusky grouper, and so we call them bully cows too. You know what the bully cow is?
No.
Yeah, bully cow is this cake. Like Dan cake. Those really big brands that have these cakes with chocolates that are made industrially.
Okay.
And basically it's a cake that has chocolate inside, and when you talk about chocolate, it's bully cow. And as these fish are brown, we call them bully cows too. And we were testing this gun on a harbor that a friend of ours made, a wooden gun, and he was spearfishing by himself, making some shots, and I had to take this huge shit, and basically
Okay, sorry. Good stuff.
you can put a P on that, probably. So sorry, my vocabulary. I didn't know other word.
Don't worry.
And basically, I did my fecal matters in the water, and it was just floating all over the place. And it's kind of similar to a bully cow too. If you'll understand.
I understand.
And basically, I start screaming at him, "There's a huge bully cow here! You have to see this! Come!" And then as these fish are always on the bottom, he was so focused on watching the bottom for a cave that might have that he didn't see all the bully cows that were on the surface. And basically we start laughing, and when he started looking at us, he had like to swim these 3 or 4 meters of bully cow around him. It was funny.
That's very funny.
awesome.
Very nasty, but something that I'm going to have to do to Turbo soon. I love it.
Yeah, sorry, it was the last bad story that I have, I think.
Oh, that's a good one. That's something that we haven't actually talked about on the show, is going to the toilet when you're out on a boat at sea. And it's one of those
awesome.
realities, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the best place, man. Sometimes if I can do that on my place, if I go spearfish, I hang and I do it near. It's the best place, man. It's
Blue
true.
toilet. Okay, so Pedro.
See, it's time for Noob Spearo's Fast 5 Facts. Ay.
The Fast 5 Facts for Noobs is 5 pieces of advice that you'd give to someone starting out that you wish you had had when you started out. So, what 5 bits of advice would you give, David?
If you're seeing too many fish, you can shoot a dead fish. Just for you to know, you can shoot a fish. This is what I did to get my accuracy better. No, I'm just kidding.
I think that's terrible advice.
Oh, he's carrying on.
Let me think.
What one piece of advice, like all of our guests seem to give, is to relax. But I guess for you, like you relax that much that it's time to go to the toilet.
Just bully cow.
Yeah.
Bully cow.
Yeah. It's true. Yeah. Totally, I totally agree.
So relaxing is crucial, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Of course, you have all these advices that people should already know about. Of course, you have to be super relaxed. You have to be relaxed, kind of. It depends. I think you have to set your mindset to the conditions that you are spearfishing in. For example, if you are spearfishing here in Portugal with 2 meters swell, you can't be too relaxed because you'll get your ass kicked and you roll over on rocks with a big wave. If you are spearfishing in Australia with dozens of sharks, maybe you don't want to get super relaxed. Otherwise, if you are diving deeper on a safer environment, of course you can relax. You need to relax in order to have a better breath hold. But I think, yeah, maybe a good advice is for you to be very, how can I say, attentive to. You have to be very aware of the environment you're in,
Yep.
and try to adapt to the conditions.
Yep.
And I think it's good to spearfish in different conditions.
Yep.
You don't need to spearfish. Yeah, I think maybe this could be another advice. People, you are always watching footage of these crystal clear blue waters with hundreds and hundreds of fish that are super easy to get. It can be funny and challenging spearfishing in places that it's not so easy to get a fish. And I think you'll be a better spearfisher if you are used to go spearfishing in different conditions.
Yeah, it's
good. Even with murky waters, smaller fish. I think there are a lot of countries that really they even make fun of the kind of spearfishing that we do here in Europe or in other places. You have guys in Greece spearfishing at 60 meters deep to catch 500 grams sea bream.
Yeah.
That's crazy, but you have to give them credit too,
Yeah.
It's difficult. It's not just for being a small fish. Sometimes a small fish can be harder to get than a big fish. And of course you should always spearfish with a friend, and it's not enough for you to go with a guy in the water. I've spearfished with different people, and it's not just having a friend there that is going to save your life. You have to be in the water with a person that you can trust, and that person must be actively concerned about what you're doing, and you should do the same for them. And it's super easy for you to have a distraction, and that's when bad things happen. So I think it's not enough just to be with someone on the water. You have to be actively concerned about them.
That's good. Like it. Have we got 5 yet, Brown?
No, we need 2 more.
Yeah. Let me see.
You're doing well so far. I was talking yesterday with a friend, and he went out on a different boatload of guys the other day, and he was talking about how good they work together as a team, and like the same sort of points you were talking about. Like you choose a buddy who's actively concerned about you, and you do the same for them. And I think it's the same on a boat. You work as a team.
For sure, and it's not easy, from all the people that I dove with, maybe I just have a couple of guys that I can really, really trust.
This is
life.
This is coming from the guy that lets his mate swim through his shit.
Imagine just coming up from a big dive, just straight into a big cloud of bully cow.
Big hook breath.
With a big bit of David's poo on your mask.
That's a good point. I think, maybe other. It's not really an advice, but I think it's a point. You don't need to dive super deep in order to get a decent fish, or even to have fun. It seems like spearfishing is evolving in this way. Like you always have to get the biggest fish. You have to try to break the world record so you can have fun and be a good spearfisher. You don't have to do that. I think we should try to do kind of the same. If you see for example, the surfing slogans, the best surfer is the one that is having more fun, and you have this footage of a really big fat guy dropping on an half-meter wave, and he's having the time of his life. And I think spearfishing should be the same. It's good for you to improve your skills if you want to, and that's a natural thing. I think we as human and people, we always try to get better, but it shouldn't be an obsession. and it's something that you can see here in Europe, and there are people dying every year in Europe and in the Azores. Azores is there are so many people that die there, and it's always the same: is pushing the limits too hard, and you get a blackout. Most of the deaths are because of that.
Wow.
So I think it's healthy for you to try to improve and get better, but it shouldn't be an obsession. I think you should take your time, and you can have fun without having to dive 30 or 40 meters deep. I don't know.
That's a great point. Leave your ego at the door is basically what I'm getting out of it. And look, I love diving with Turbo David because he's exactly like that. Here's a guy that struggles to dive past 15 feet. 5 meters. He barely ever shoots a fish.
Every week you come up with this.
When he does shoot a fish, it's normally the dumbest fish in the Pacific Ocean. And look, it's probably not a desirable species that you can even eat. But he'll eat it, or he'll swap it with the neighbour for some scones.
Super fish.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Every week he pulls that joke out. It's just like tiresome. I'm just waiting for it. At what? Probably. He got to the 51-minute mark in the interview before he pulled that one out. So I think that's a good effort for him. All right, mate. I think we got 5 points. That was just more of an open discussion, but it was excellent anyway. So number one, we sort of had, stay relaxed and set your mindset to your conditions. Relax for your breath hold. But also number two, that leads us into number two, is get used to your conditions and sort of get your mind around the conditions you're diving and be prepared for that.
Adapt.
Yep. And number three, spearfish with a friend or a buddy that you can trust because it's the only way really to stay safe.
Yep.
Number four, don't push your limits for any fish just for the sake of shooting trophies. And
get out of the mindset, I think he was saying, of just being this competitive guy that has to be the deepest diver that shoots the biggest fish. Just have fun.
And number five was that leads us into number five. Spearing's fun, so just enjoy it.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good fast five. It wasn't that fast though, David, but that's okay.
Sorry, guys.
No, you're right, man. Hey, crucial kit for noobs. What piece of equipment is absolutely essential for a Spearo starting out, and what brands would you recommend for that particular piece of equipment?
Besides the Azores DVD.
Of course, anyone that wants to go to the Azores, they have to see Inhale.
Hey, look, and in all seriousness, I've only seen like the first 10 minutes of it, but I'll be watching all of it a couple of times, and it's sold me on wanting to go there and have
it. You've done a good job.
You've done a great job.
And if you need anything from the Azores, you can talk with us.
Cool.
We are spearfishing guides there. I worked a lot as basically guide for everything, but we can help you in any way. Just ask us. It's okay. Cool. To David, Ochoa, or Breathless, or Inhale. Just so this piece of equipment.
Yeah.
It's difficult if there are so many of them that you can't spearfish without.
I guess another way to look at the question is, when you started out, David, what piece of equipment gave you the most trouble, and what sort of point of view did you, what decision did you come to about what gear is absolutely essential?
From a general view, at least I have this point. All the gear, the simpler, the better. Sometimes people and brands they start adding things that you don't need, and you will have problems with them. You can see, for example, spearguns with all these new little devices and thingies that can break and that can make a speargun not shoot very well. I think, maybe spearguns. It's of course, I think it's very difficult for you to get a fish spearfishing without a speargun. So,
I've tried
so which brands do you recommend? What did you start with? Where did you where are you now?
Basically, I used so many different brands, and you have lots of good brands. I started, my first spear gun was a Ochoa, and I'm still using it. It's a very, very small one. And I think, for example, of course, you have very good spear guns for blue water, you know. You have the rifles and everything, but for the spearfishing that we do here in Europe, um, if we are using bigger guns, if we have good visibility, most of the time I use Rob Allen. That is, it's a very trusty one spear gun. It's simple and it works well, and I think you don't really need like those super huge guns to get good fish. You have cases where you need it, but for example, in the Azores, most of the times you won't be needing those. Cool. And of course, you have this Elite that is the brand that is sponsoring me now, okay. And they have good spear guns, but their wetsuits are probably the best they have.
Okay.
And yeah, I think it's difficult to choose a specific piece, but I think a good advice maybe just keep it simple as you can, and not have anything attached to your body.
Yeah.
Just
yeah, cool.
Yeah, no, I like it.
We I had a guest from a fan of the show the other day. He had a question. His name was Josh Goodman. He asked about roller guns. Do you have much knowledge on roller guns, David?
Yeah, roller guns are it's a really, really good concept. I tried one the first time, I don't know, maybe 8 years ago in the Azores. There's this guy, Spanish guy, that is completely crazy about spear guns. His name is Javier Fernandez. He has this pool just to test spear guns, and it's very good because the roller gun, basically you can have a smaller gun with a roller gun with how can I say,
greater
the
range.
shot that you have. Yeah, that's it. The range are so much bigger. Yep. You know, you can get an accurate shot more far away than with a regular gun, and you also have this the kick that the gun has. Yep. I don't know how you guys call it. Yep.
Recoil.
Basically, if you are recoil, yeah, that's it. There are guns with so much less recoil, and of course, when you don't have so much recoil, it's easier for you to have an accurate shot. And I think it's a kind of spear gun that still has some work to do. You see, it's kind of a recent concept, and there are people and brands testing them into many different conditions. But I think it's a very, very good concept. In the beginning, it was something that I thought that it would be really good for the kind of spearfishing that we do here in Europe, because it has such a longer shot. But I thought it didn't have so much inertia, you know, so it would be difficult for a roller gun to penetrate a big fish. But now you are seeing like 140 centimeters roller guns catching really, really big fish. So I think it's a concept that is changing, and I think it's a kind of gun that you can use to catch really, really big fish. I think it's a cool concept.
Yeah, well, what are the things that would stop you from buying a roller gun?
Yeah, there are nothing really in specific. There are specific kinds of spearfishing that I will not use. For example, the roller guns are heavier guns, you know, and they are less hydrodynamic, for example.
Nice.
For the kind of spearfishing that we do here, and people do around the world too, if you are spearfishing with 2 or 3 meters visibility, you don't need a super long shot. It's better for you to have a spear gun that is lighter and it's simple and it's smaller, because you have much more mobility, and it would be easier for you to shoot fish that are super, they have a lot of, how can I say, fish that are scared of you, you know?
Yep.
Most of the time here you have like 1 or 2 seconds the most for you to aim at a fish, and then he's gone.
Okay.
And maybe this is a scenario where I wouldn't choose a roller gun. If you're spearfishing with bad visibility and with swell, that is always getting your gun from your hands.
Yep. Okay, well, thanks for answering that for Josh Goodman. That's good. You've given us all something to think about with roller guns. So, look, now's the part of the show where I like to just give our audience an opportunity to connect with you, David. So you've got a Facebook page you mentioned before the show, so they can find you at Breathless Productions on Facebook.
Yeah, or personally, David Ochoa, either way.
And you've also got a Facebook page for the Azores Inhale Azores in one breath.
Yeah. That's it.
Cool. And look, we actually backed that project from the Indiegogo campaign.
Yeah, I know. Thank you so much, guys.
And look, that was a great project to back, David. We love seeing stuff like that. I hope you do another sort of crowdsourced DVD in the future. So we pre-purchased the thing. Turbo's got a shirt. He can't stop wearing it. I think he's worn it for 4 days in a row now. So it smells, but it's still a cool shirt.
It's pretty uncomfortable in the studio right now.
So people can purchase the Azores Inhale the Azores in one breath. They can purchase that DVD. Where can they get that from?
Yeah, where can they buy it?
Yeah, basically they can go directly to our Facebook page, Inhale, and they can talk directly with us. And next week we'll have our website on, breathless.pt, and then there will be a place for them to buy too. So either our Facebook page, if you want to get in touch with us this week, or after next week, we'll have our site on. So
no worries.
Either way.
This show will probably go live in about a month, David, just to give you some insight. So by then your website will be well and truly running, so people will be able to purchase off breathless.pt. And look, I've only watched 10 minutes of the DVD so far. I've been a bit pumped for time this week, but what I've seen, it's just absolutely fantastic.
Thank you so much, guys.
All right, so they can connect with you on Facebook. They can find you on your website. Have you got any other message for our audience, David?
I think it always goes to the same. Just have fun doing what you love, and basically, I think that's the point we're all here talking about.
Yeah, for sure.
Just have fun and being sustainable.
I like that. That's a good message.
And go for a poo and try and get your mates to come over into it. That's cool. All right.
That's what I mean when I say having fun.
Yeah.
I plan on having fun.
Even if it's at your diabetes expense. That's great. Now, thanks for coming on the show, David. It's been a real pleasure to have you on. We haven't interviewed anyone from Portugal, so really, really awesome to have you on the show.
Awesome. Thanks, David.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for speaking with us.
Cool.
Thank
All
you.
right, so we'll link up those things on the show notes. Noob Spearo, come and have a look at David's website and DVD.
Thanks for listening today, Noob Spearo. If you'd like to find out any more information from today's guest, then head over to noobspearo.com.
We really appreciate you guys as listeners. Without you, we couldn't do the show. So if you want to help us out, leave us a review on iTunes or head on over to noobspearo.com and sign up for our newsletter. We won't send you crap.
So that's all from us. A big hooroo. We hope to see you soon.
Shrek over and out.